Dear students, today we are going to discuss about cursors. This is one of the important concept in database application development. So, can declare a cursor on a relation or query statement. Okay, so already we have seen the purpose of cursor is to retrieve the multiple records how in the programming language when we are using embedded SQL. So how to do this one means like files already you people may be studied. So in order to use the files, first we have to create the file, then create, and after creating the file we have to open the file and we should perform the operation. Again we should close the file. Same manner we have to do it for cursors. We have to open the cursor and then perform the operation, then close the cursor and so on. So can open a cursor and repeatedly fetch a tuple, then move the cursor until all tuples have been retrieved. Okay, that is the thing. So because our aim is retrieving the multiple tuples or records, so the cursor will be opened, then using the cursor pointer we can retrieve the data until all tuples should be retrieved. Can use a special class called order by, because when we are retrieving the data tuples, it should be ordered in some way. So we are going to use order by in queries that are accessed through a cursor to control the order in which tuples are returned. Okay, for that order by is used. Can also modify a delete tuple pointed to by a cursor. That is also possible. So cursor that gets names of sailors. So here we have taken the databases, that is boating, that is a shipping database that is given in your another textbook, Raghu Ramakrishnan. Especially this third module covers in that book only, Raghu Ramakrishnan book. So they have taken the shipping database. In the shipping database already you know we have three tables: sailors, boat and resource. Okay, so here our aim is to get the names of sailors who have reserved a red boat. In alphabetical order we want to retrieve the names of sailors. So for that we are using cursors. For that but we are using the embedded SQL now. So we have to give the command execute SQL declare sinfo, declare sinfo cursor for, this is the name, cursor for what? Select s.s name from which are the table. These are the tables with alias name we are given as br, where the linking the tables using primary key and foreign key. Order by, in which order we want to retrieve, in the name alphabetical order. So s.s name. Okay. So this is about cursors. Next we are going to see about dynamic SQL. So dynamic SQL, from the name itself it is there. SQL query strings are not always known at a compile time. Okay, so if it is known at compile time means that is okay. That is, if suppose during runtime we are going to know that query strings means that is called as dynamic SQL concept. We have to use name itself, it is the dynamic. Okay, example for that is spreadsheets, graphical, DBMS, front end and all we can't know until the runtime. Okay, what is a disadvantage means it is a real pain to debug pre-processed programs. Okay, it is very difficult to debug it because during runtime only we are going to know the actual statistics. Okay, the use of program development environment is compromised substantially. The pre-processor must be vendor and platform specific. Okay, pre-processor is vendor or platform specific here. That is not general. Okay, so then next is JDBC architecture. So JDBC means Java database connectivity. It is used to connect the Java along with the front end, the back end tool, any database SQL. Okay, here there are four architectural components. One is application. Okay, so that what is the purpose of application means it is used to initiates and terminates connections, but the connection between the SQL and the Java, and submits SQL statements. For this application component is used. And driver manager, it is used to load JDBC driver. Okay, that is necessary. And driver, it is used to connect to data source, transmits requests and returns translates results, error codes, everything should be taken by the component driver. And the fourth component is data source, where the data should be taken, the pre-processes SQL statements. For that the data source should be used. These are all the four components in JDBC architecture. So we have seen one of the component is driver. Okay, in the driver, what is the purpose means connect to the data source, transmits request and returns the results and error codes. Everything should be taken care by the driver. So driver is very important concept. So in the driver there are 4 types of drivers. Okay, the first 4 types of drivers are bridge, direct translation to native API, non-Java driver, network bridge, direct translation to native API via Java driver. One is via non-Java driver, another one is via Java driver. So that is first one is bridge. Okay, it translates SQL commands into a non-native API, application programming interface. That is the main thing. So example is JDBC ODBC bridge, that already we know, Java database connectivity and open database connectivity bridge. So code for JDBC and ODBC driver needs to be available on each client. That should be there. Each client, the JDBC and ODBC driver code should be there. Then direct translation to native API non-Java driver. That is 2 possibilities. One is with non-Java driver, another one is with Java driver. So here translates SQL commands to native API of data source. Need OS specific binary on each client. That is OS specific, operating system specific, operation oriented, this one. Next one is in that via Java driver is converts the JDBC calls we are having, no, that will be converts, the calls are directly to network protocols used by the DBMS. That is the main thing in that via Java driver. Okay, needs DBMS specific Java driver at each client, because we are using Java driver, it's the corresponding DBMS specific. Either suppose we are using SQL server means that specific Java driver should be there, or if we are using SQL server means SQL server specific, or MS SQL specific, like that. That should be used by the client. Okay, that is the main thing. And network bridge means send commands over the network to a middleware server. So we know we are going to see next that architecture. In that middleware server will be there that talks to the data storage source. Okay, need only small JDBC driver at each client. Okay, that is necessary, compulsory, not to connect the JDBC, database along with the front end to Java. We need these operations. First we need major components. Among the driver component is very important to perform the JDBC ODBC connectivity operations. Okay, this is a JDBC architecture. Already we have seen the components and various drivers. Then JDBC classes and interfaces. So here we are going to see the steps to submit a database query. There are 3 steps. The first step is, first JDBC driver is important, no, already we have seen. The first step is load a JDBC driver. So after loading the JDBC driver, what will happen? Connect to the data source. The connection should be happened. Then next is executing the SQL statements. There is a 3 steps to submit a database query. Load the JDBC driver, connect to the data source, execute SQL statements. And then SQLJ is a complements JDBC with a semi-static query model. Okay, SQLJ in general we'll call it as a SQL, embedded SQL with Java. Okay, so there is a semi-static query model, not completely the query model, semi-static query model. Compiler can perform syntax checks. Compile, what are the operations it is going to perform? The syntax. There is a main operation of compiler. Strong type checks. Type checking also it is going to do. Consistency of the query with the schema. That's the thing, we are going to study the different types of errors. That is the type checking is one, a syntax error, semantic error and so on. Type checks, it will come under the semantic error. The syntax errors, which syntax checks you know already, the semicolon is missing, that all those things it will come under the syntax checks. So this should be taken care. Okay, for all arguments always bound to the same variable. So we are going to use like this, hash SQL x is equal to, open the brace, then we are going to give the command, select name, rating info, colon info. This will be defined in the host language. We are going to give this colon to differentiate the database, host language data along with the programming language. Okay, data sub language. Colon should be used. Okay, SQL call level interface. So this thing we are going to see in the next class, SQL call level interface. So first you should be clear about JDBC, ODBC connectivity. This is very, very important when you are doing your project. Without front end and back end, we can't do the operation. So in order to link both front end and back end, we need the JDBC, ODBC connectivity. It is very, very easy to connect it, establish a connection between the front end tool and back end tool. Okay. Thank you. Next class we are going to see about SQL call level interfaces and stored procedures.